Jarvis,
Your service, sir.
can we get the lights? Let's get this thing rolling.
As you wish.
Oof. So what are we doing? Who are you?
I'm James.
Oh, James, how you doing?
Doing great.
You want to talk about something?
Sure. We can talk about the Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Somebody made a movie about me. It's good stuff. Hey, Pepper, can I get that drink, please? James, Pepper, thank you. Ah, it's good stuff. How does he start this usually? It's just kind of...
I've never really seen the show. I'm not sure.
Oh, ooh. So we'll just talk and then hopefully something... Oh, okay. It's like that. Joss Whedon directed this picture. I think he wrote it too, right?
That's the word on the street.
Yeah. The Avengers. Written and directed by Joss Whedon. I would say it stars Robert Downey Jr.,
Chris Hemsworth,
Demigod,
Chris Evans,
super soldier, kind of living legend who lives up to the legend,
Mark Ruffalo,
a man with incredible anger management problems,
Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner,
a couple of master assassins,
Samuel L. Jackson, Clark Gregg, Tom Hiddleston, and Cobie Smulders.
When Thor's evil brother Loki returns to Earth with a massive army, Earth's mightiest heroes must unite to defeat a force they never could reckon with alone.
Is your chest piece supposed to be on?
Yes! It keeps me alive! Yeah!
Oh, okay.
I need this! Hey everybody, CritiCarter here. Like I mentioned earlier, this is my buddy James. He's going to be here for as many future comic book movie reviews as is humanly possible for him.
He may very well kick me off this show after this one, though, so
It
be
depends on-
prepared for that.
Yeah, there's always that.
I curse a lot, too.
Let's just preface this by saying we're going to talk about the Avengers as though you've seen Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America. We can talk about anything that happened in those movies.
So they don't count as spoilers because they're
Right.
all over a year old.
Please stop this review and go see those movies before you finish the review or go see the Avengers, whichever you want to do first. Good things about this movie.
The first thing that really stuck out to me was in this Marvel movie, this comic book movie, there were actual fight scenes in the movies. If you really think back on it, Iron Man kind of had a fight scene in the first one. There was a bunch of shooting in the second one. The thing I hated the most about Captain America was that there wasn't a fight scene with the Red Skull at the end. He just kind of, and then that was the end of that. And there was one in the Hulk, to be fair, and it was pretty amazing.
Incredible Hulk, specifically, not the other one that...
There's another Hulk movie?
Joss Whedon was picked a while back, before this movie got made, obviously, to make this movie. He wrote the screenplay and directed the picture. I think that was a very good idea, because one of the things Whedon's known for is his strong female characters. And that really comes across in this film, because they spend a lot of maybe not a lot of the time, but there's a significant portion of the movie dedicated to giving a lot of backstory on the Black Widow, who in Iron Man 2 wasn't even referred to as the Black Widow, which really bugged me. In this movie, you're introduced to her, they push the Russian aspect a lot, and they call her Black Widow right off the bat.
Even though she doesn't have a Russian accent, which is a little bit weird. But do you think whenever she was speaking in Russian, she had a terrible American accent?
I guess we gotta ask our Russian audience, and if they watch the movie in English.
You heard it, Russia.
What else did you like about the movie?
The other thing for me, which I don't say it's a lot in movies in general, I don't really care that much about it, was the special effects in this movie were amazing to me. In all these movies like, Avatar and even older comic book movies and stuff like that, they really hide a lot of the stuff when there are transformations like the Hulk and stuff like that and put them in the dark. That it's because the special effects weren't quite there yet. This one is pretty much all in daylight. You can see every bit of everything and it all looks flawless. Whenever you see Iron Man flying around or the Hulk running around in New York City, it looks like they're actually a part of it.
I thought Thor had a lot of that problem, like with the Frost Giant stuff. Everything was really super dark. That should also go without saying. Don't see the movie in 3D because it's not shot in 3D.
Or don't see any movie in 3D because 3D sucks.
I will make an exception to the special effects generalization. There's a scene with Loki that does not take place on Earth. And it looks blatantly, at least to me, it blatantly looked like it was a set. It didn't look like it was actually a far-off place. And that bugged me. I don't want to go to the movies and think, oh, these are a couple of guys on a stage somewhere being shot by a camera. I want to think, okay, this is Loki, this is another guy he's talking to, and they're off having some wild adventure. However, I did really like the way that they were able to bring everybody up to speed really quickly, because, Avengers, like I said, you've got Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America. That's 5 movies of backstory that all tie into this one. And as we went through the cast list in the very beginning of the video, there were a lot of people in this movie. and most of them have been introduced in other pictures. Joss Whedon did a really good job in his screenplay, and possibly Zach Penn deserves some credit because he has a story credit for the movie too. They both did a really good job talking about the characters as though you might not be familiar with them, but in such a way that the people who were familiar with them weren't bored by it. The movie still kept going while the exposition was going on.
The one caveat I would say to that, though, is the big problem I had with it was in the end of Thor, spoilers if you haven't got our spoiler warning already, they break away the Rainbow Bridge, and it's presumed that he can't get back to Earth, and I'm pretty sure they even say, I don't know how we'll get back, but I'll find a way back to you, some such line to Natalie Portman. Thor just kind of shows up out of nowhere in this, and he shows up on top of a jet. It's a really awesome scene, and like me, I got really excited about it, and I was pretty happy and giddy about it, but he just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and they're just kind of like, yeah, something about Odin, something used a lot of
Odin
power.
used a lot of dark energy to make him appear on Earth.
I feel like their whole thing was how's he going to get back to Natalie Portman, and apparently old daddy could just get him back real quick, so.
But old daddy doesn't want to use up all his powers on just any old little booty call, you know?
How dare you.
What?
It was love.
They're going to be knocking boots in the
Those
second
two people
one.
were in love.
Yeah, they met each other for
It
3
is
days.
ridiculous.
And they fell in love.
This segment brought to you by Marker's Mark.
Maker's Mark?
Whatever. I don't drink whiskey.
Neither do I. Aside, the set issue notwithstanding, my one tiny, teensy-weensy complaint about the movie. While there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this movie that is nothing like what the trailers depict, which I loved, quick side on trailers, when you see Iron Man and Thor and Captain America fighting each other in the trailers, that's actually them fighting each other, which is not what I thought it was going to be at all. And I loved that they made that moment work. That was really good.
100% conventional, too. Robert Downey Jr. was actually fighting Chris Hemsworth in a suit. It's crazy.
Yeah. If you've seen the trailers, you know there's a moment in the trailers where Mark Ruffalo, as Bruce Banner, has transformed into the Hulk. He grabs Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man out of the air. This happens very close to the end of the film. You need to avoid having those kinds of moments, time-wise, in the trailers, I think. That's just me. There's also some moments that if you, like me, keep up with the announced films on the Marvel roster, like if you know a certain film is going to have a sequel, a certain character associated with that film is going to be safe through the films up to that point.
But in this film, no one's safe.
Okay, sure. Nobody's safe. But everyone will sleep at night, James.
Another thing that I really, really liked about this movie was Tom Hiddleston. This guy really is amazing. I loved him in the Thor movie. Thor was probably my second favorite Marvel movie in general. And in this movie, he just blows it away. Other than Robert Downey Jr., who you kind of have to just, brush off as probably being the best actor in the movie. I really think he stole the show in pretty much every scene he was in. And I really just want him to be the villain in every Marvel movie. I don't care if he plays Loki. I just want
let's be clear on that. James isn't saying he wants Loki to be the villain in every Marvel movie.
Yes,
he wants Tom Hiddleston to play every single character that is the villain.
The Red Skull, the Mandarin.
Despite the fact some of these characters have already been established.
It doesn't matter. He can play Whiplash too. That guy sucks anyway. Mickey Rourke sucks too.
Yes, Oscar-nominated Mickey Rourke sucks. And there are 2 scenes after the main chunk of the movie. One is a small portion into the credits after they've announced all the big names. There's a scene there that kind of sets up future movies. And then there's also a scene at the very end of the credits that ties into a small comment made by a character earlier in the film. So if you want that moment to pay off, stay all the way through the credits.
Honestly, your more casual fans are going to be more impressed by the final scene than the after mid-credit scene.
Stay through all the way to the end, just for the end. I'm going to have to give this 4.75 out of 5 of Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I give it 5 Batmans.
You can't give it Batmans!
Just did.
No, re-rate it. You can't use DC. They don't exist. This is Marvel.
I didn't really dislike that much about it. I was just trying to find some kind of anything to not be like, this movie's the best movie ever!
Anytime that you have a movie where the entire audience reacts the exact same way, multiple times in the movie, I'd say that's a good thing.
Maybe. But that brings up a point that I want to kind of get to. Now, Carter disagrees with me on this.
Very much so.
And maybe some people do this, and maybe it's just my cross to bear. But clapping at movies, I don't really think it's necessary. I understand the emotion that goes into it, and I'm sure I've clapped at a moment of when I was laughing or something like that. But really, do you need to clap during a movie when no one knows that you're clapping for them, and it's not like the director's in the audience with you? It kind of seems pointless, and ultimately, normally you just miss out on extra dialogue after that because the filmmakers probably aren't accounting for you clapping for 13 seconds after a scene.
There was one moment that I think people missed because of the clapping.
I think there were a couple.
I've talked to some people who don't understand the difference between Marvel and DC. Batman's not in this movie. When the DVD hits, James is gonna put it out on the torrents and throw Batman into random frames like Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Exactly. I don't torrent things.
Carter, could you give them an example of a 5 movie so they understand what you're... Because 4.75 is pretty close to a 5.
An example of a 5 movie, I'm gonna say Brick. 2005, Joseph Gordon-Levitt stars, Ryan Johnson directs. You probably haven't heard of Ryan Johnson, but you will come September, because he did an awesome movie called Looper. A 5 movie is a movie that I can find no faults with. I can't give a movie 100% if I think that there's something wrong. Do you think I'm being too harsh on that?
What do you think Scott Pilgrim is?
Scott Pilgrim's a 5.
His argument's valid.
I don't do this I don't think I've ever done this, actually. We're gonna plug some stuff. A webcomic, an Etsy store, and a...
It's a blog. We do everything.
Okay. Webcomic. Laser Fist. It's run by a buddy of mine. It's very R-rated, though, so, little kids watching this video, just stay away. Lots of 4-letter words. Not your thing. Wait till you're 17, then you can go check it out. This and all the links for these plugs, by the way, are going to be down there in the description thingy-mabob. Doobly-doo. Whatever you choose to call it. Number 2, Etsy store. Wanda June's Bluebird of Happiness. It's the Etsy shop of a friend of mine. She actually saw Avengers with us, but was not able to stick around to shoot this video. And she'd have a very different perspective because she's not a comic book person like James and I are, and she hasn't even seen all the movies leading up to the Avengers. Yeah, so she runs an Etsy shop. There's all kinds of stuff. If you wanted to go check that out, buy stuff from her. I'm sure she'll love it. Who doesn't love money? Everybody loves money. I love money. And finally, last but not least, the blog known as Robot Best Friend. robotbestfriend.wordpress.com. So
that's my blog. We cover everything.
Yeah, that's
I'm one of the contributors on the blog. We cover sports, music, art, crafts, comic books, everything. Movies.
Movies?
Movies.
You're getting a movie guy?
Television. We cover everything. So come check it out. It's new, but we love it.
Last week, I did that review for The Raven. That's up over here if you really want to watch it. Honestly, I'm actually going to be out of town next week, so next Friday, not sure there's going to be a new review up here, but I would like to try and review Dark Shadows eventually, because I know, everybody loves a good Tim Burton movie. Even if it's a bad Tim Burton movie, they still love it. Alice in Wonderland made like $1 billion for some reason.
I hate all Tim Burton movies.
He doesn't.
Yes, I do.
You haven't... Have you seen them? Okay. Edward Scissorhands. You hate Edward Scissorhands. You hate Ed Wood.
I don't like Johnny Depp either.
Okay, we're gonna pretend like that wasn't said on this channel. Next review, whatever it is, if it's Dark Shadows, if it has to be Battleship, it's gonna go up over there, upper corner. I don't want to point in front of James's face, so it's over there. Wherever the corner is, that's
weird.
Where it's gonna be.
Maybe he'll let me do Batman next week.
Batman doesn't come out next week, James.
I'll do Dark Knight.
We only do new movies. Favorite the video, subscribe to the channel. You guys know this by now. You've been around. You're smart kids, right? Yeah. If you weren't smart, you wouldn't be watching me. Like I said, James is going to be around for the comic book stuff. So we got The Amazing Spider-Man coming out July. It's either beginning of June or beginning of July. One of the two. It's on a Wednesday, which is going to throw everybody off because they're going to come on Friday looking for the review, and it's going to be like 2 days old. It's a whole big thing. But then we got Dark Knight Rises, which I know everybody's super into, which is July 20th. He'll definitely be here for that, right, James?
That's all I want to talk about.
And so I'm sure we'll have plenty to say if we can keep our spoilers to ourselves.
He's the hero Gotham needs.
Jarvis, I think we're done here. Shut it down.
Preparing to power down.